Outstealing Horses is a novel by the Norwegian author, Per Petterson, published in 2003. This coming-of-age introspective novel is from the first-person perspective of Trond Sander, who reflects on his life from childhood to adulthood. The novel is set in the countryside of eastern Norway during the present 1999 and the past summer of 1948 at the time of German occupation of Norway. In November 1999, a 67-years-old Trond Sander lived alone in a rundown cabin in the countryside of eastern Norway, with only his dog, Lyra, for company. After a lifetime working in Oslo, he has retired to Solitude. "All my life I have longed to be alone in a place like this." One night, Trond is startled by noises outside and meets his nearest neighbor, Lars Haug, who is searching for his missing dog, Poker. Trond helps him find it, but the encounter stirs up uneasy memories from the summer of 1948, when he was 15. That summer, Trond stayed with his father in a small cabin near the Swedish border. His closest friend was John Haug, a boy from a nearby farm. They often sneaked out early in the mornings to steal horses, their playful phrase for riding the rich landowner Barkel's horses. One morning, John showed Trond a nest of bird eggs and suddenly crushed them, shocking Trond. Later, Trond learns the reason for John's strange behavior. The day before, John had left his unloaded hunting gun unattended after hunting hares, and his 10-year-old twin brothers, Lars and Odd, began playing with it. The gun went off by Lars, killing Odd. John had later gone away and became a sailor. That summer, Trond and his father helped Barkel cut and stack hay in return for the use of one of his horses, which Trond's father needed to transport logs from his spruce forest to float downriver to a sawmill in Sweden for sale. There was tension between Trond's father and John's father as they cut and stacked timber, ending with John's father breaking his leg and being taken away to the hospital, never to return. Earlier, Trond had seen his father kissing John's mother. Back in the present, Trond suddenly realizes that his neighbor Lars Haug is the same Lars, John's surviving twin. When Lars visits Trond's cabin when Trond was chopping wood outside, Trond invites Lars to dinner and the two acknowledge their shared past over dinner but avoid speaking about it directly. Later, Trond remembers the end of that summer, when his father left him at the bus stop, promising to return but never did. In his adult life, Trond married twice, once divorced, and his second wife died in a car accident that he survived. Her death pushed him to sell his business and move permanently to the countryside. Remembering that his wife and sister used to call him the boy with the golden trousers, he reflects that, despite everything, he has been lucky. Trond begins to understand why his father had chosen that secluded place. During World War II, his father had been part of the Norwegian resistance fighting against Nazi occupation, secretly helping to smuggle refugees and documents across the border into Sweden. One morning, young Trond woke up to find his father missing. He went to visit his father's friend, Franz, who told him what had happened. Trond's father and John's mother had been working together to smuggle people past the German soldiers, while John's father refused to help. One day, John's father neglected to hide the footprints of his wife and a man she was helping escape. The Germans followed the tracks and caught sight of them rowing toward Trond's father's cabin. To slow the pursuit, Franz blew up the bridge, but the soldiers fired across the river and killed the escaping man. Then John's mother and Trond's father ran away to Sweden together. Back in the present, Lars helps Trond clear a fallen tree near his cabin. During their conversation, Lars mentions a stepfather, making Trond wonder if his father became that man. Lars states that he hadn't seen his mother in 20 years. Later, Trond's estranged daughter, Ellen, visits him, upset that he had disappeared without telling the family or leaving a way to reach him. After she leaves, Trond drifts back into memory again, this time to the final days of the summer of 1948, when he and his father took Barkel's horses into Sweden and checked on their timber that they had sent down the river. Most of it had gotten stuck on the riverbank, and Trond helped free it, a moment that made his father proud. Trond remembers what happened after that summer. He returned home, expecting his father to follow soon after his business was complete. Every day, he went to the train station to wait for him, but his father never came. Eventually, a letter arrived saying his father would not be returning. The money from the timber was deposited in a Swedish bank, but it wasn't much. Trond's mother used most of it to buy him a new suit. The novel ends with Trond's memory of walking arm in arm with his mother, recalling his father's words that a person can choose when something will hurt them, a piece of advice that defines Trond's lifelong way of coping with loss. Let's thematically analyze Outstealing Horses by Per Petterson. Trond, his neighbor Lars, and Trond's father choose to live in isolation. Their solitude is deliberate, a withdrawal from people and noise, a move into the wilderness to think, or perhaps to stop thinking altogether, like meditation. The characters value an economy of words, leaving space between them for meaning to settle. After his wife's death in a car accident, Trond retreats to the Norwegian countryside, cutting himself off from urban life and embracing simplicity. With only his dog Lyra for company, he lives quietly, blending into his surroundings and revealing little of himself. He reflects that people like it when you tell them things, in suitable portions, in a modest, intimate tone, and they think they know you, but they do not, they know about you. This limited sharing allows Trond to maintain his mystery and remain free from others' expectations. During the German occupation of Norway, solitude, peace, and silence had no place, except for the silence born from secrecy. The roar of German motorcycles fills the countryside as soldiers patrol with guns, always ready to shoot. Resistance fighters plant bombs and strike when necessary. In this world of chaos, silence takes on a new meaning of the endurance of suffering without complaint. As a boy, Trond struggles to understand this, but he learns it from his father. When his father pulls up stinging nettles barehanded, while Trond hesitates to cut them, he teaches his son that some things must be done, without protest. Trond remembers this lesson later, when he injures his leg while working with his father in the forest. Instead of staying in bed, he forces himself up, knowing his father needs him. In his old age, Trond's solitude becomes a test of endurance. He worries about surviving the winter in his rundown cabin, the heavy snow that might bury his car, the dwindling firewood, and the fallen tree blocking his workroom door. With these worries, he refuses to ask for help. He clings to self-reliance, determined to face his difficulties without complaint. Petterson's prose expresses this blend of peace and unease, portraying Norway's serene landscapes alongside Trond's inner restlessness. The writing has a cinematic quality, each image vivid, each silence heavy with meaning. Outstealing Horses becomes a meditation on memory, showing that the past continues to echo through the present, shaping the man Trond has become. Trond's peaceful anonymity is disturbed by the sudden appearance of Lars Haug, a childhood friend who reawakens memories Trond had long buried. Lars's return becomes the spark that forces Trond to confront the past. Instantly recognizable after decades, Lars embodies the summer of 1948, a season that changed their lives forever. That year, while helping his father in the forest, 15-year-old Trond experienced the loss of innocence when tragedy struck. What began as harmless fun, stealing horses with John Haug, Lars's older brother, ended in disaster when Lars accidentally killed his twin, Odd, with John's air rifle. The event shattered their childhood world as John disappeared, and Trond faced the harshness of life too soon. When his father failed to return to Oslo as promised, Trond was left to care for his mother and sister, taking on the weight of adulthood before he was ready. The memory of that summer lingers, shaping the solitude and silence that define his later years. Trond is uneasy with change. Throughout his life, sudden disruptions have left him unsettled, and he has developed a resistance to bad news. His aversion is understandable, time has brought him grief, loss, and the steady approach of his own mortality. Now, as he confronts the inevitability of death, Trond searches for meaning, questioning why life must end at all. Decades after his youth, his unexpected reunion with Lars compels him to re-examine the events of that long-ago summer through the lens of experience. He begins to reassess his father's actions and relationships, particularly his affair with John's mother, which once baffled and disturbed the younger Trond. What had seemed confusing now appears layered with betrayal and bravery. Franz, the neighboring farmer, reveals that Trond's father had been secretly involved in resistance activities during the German occupation. Reflecting that life had shifted its weight from one point to another, Trond acknowledges the constant struggle to reconcile these truths with his father's abandonment. In the present, his interactions with Lars offer a fragile resolution. Their quiet dinners carry the weight of unspoken understanding, serving as remembrance and healing. Lars becomes a steady presence, helping Trond with practical matters and offering companionship in a life long defined by solitude. Through their conversations, fragments of the past resurface, what became of John, of their families, but many questions remain unresolved. The novel ends on this note of ambiguity, with Trond and Lars piecing together their fractured histories and cautiously moving toward a semblance of peace. In Outstealing Horses, Trond's bond with nature becomes a mirror for his inner life. Nature is a lens through which he understands himself and his place in the world. Petterson suggests that one's connection to nature lies in perception and awareness. Trond observes that it is as if the tinted air binds the world together and there is nothing disconnected out there. That's a good thing to think about, but whether it is true or not is a different matter. Nature reflects Trond's emotional state, its stillness, harshness, and beauty parallel his own transitions from youth to old age. Whether through the tranquility of the forest or the quiet thread of snow, nature shelters and exposes him, offering a space where reflection and remembrance intertwine. Trond Sander, the novel's reflective narrator, views the world with observation. At 15, he is curious but unversed in adulthood, and this innocence shapes his path toward self-awareness. Through his experiences with his father in the summer of 1948, Trond begins to understand that strength often lies in silence. His initial fear of pain gives way to endurance, and he learns to read love and loyalty through gestures rather than words. Trond's restraint, his tendency to hold questions rather than voice them, reveals his acceptance of life's uncertainties. His relationships, particularly with his father and John's mother, are defined by what remains unsaid. In many ways, Trond embodies the archetype of the orphan and the widow, separated from parental and marital anchors, shaped by loss, and drawn inevitably toward solitude. As an old man, Trond continues to live with dignity. The death of his wife deepens his solitude, but he faces it without bitterness. Emulating his father's independence, he accepts mortality with calm awareness. His understanding of others, Franz, Lars, and his father, remains filtered through distance, as though life resists full comprehension. Birds serve as recurring symbols of memory and the delicate nature of life. In the novel's opening, Trond watches small titmice repeatedly strike his window and wonders, "I don't know what they want that I have." He sets out food for them, creating a ritual of observation, but the birds' futile attempts to reach him mirror his own guardedness. As the titmice presses against the glass, his memories, too, try to break through his barriers. This image connects to a pivotal childhood moment, the morning after Ott's death, when Trond and John go out stealing horses and climb a birch tree to see a goldcrest's nest. Trond is enchanted by how something so little can come alive and just fly away, a moment of pure wonder. But in his grief and confusion, John crushes the nest to dust. The act signals a loss of innocence. John has seen the fragility of life firsthand, and Trond, unable to comprehend his friend's pain, begins to sense the divide between childhood naivety and adult sorrow. Through these images, Petterson uses birds to symbolize the persistence of memory and the impossibility of holding on to it, life forever fluttering at the edge of understanding. Don't forget to like and comment.